Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan are honored to partner with Proudly We Served, as well as the continued support of our local active and retired military veterans across eastern Indiana.
I'm Al Bledsoe, Veterans of Foreign War, Post 1108.
I'm Ron Chappell. I'm a chaplain at Vietnam Veterans Chapter 777 here in the city of Richmond, and co-host with Al here at Proudly We Serve. Well, buddy, this is a little bit different for us, isn't it?
It's a little bit different. We don't have a guest today,
well,
but
we're the guests. We're
the guests today.
So we got program, and it's about time that we take some time and just talk about why we did this,
Sure.
what our purpose and focus and all of that, so, and the way that we met through church activity,
right.
and we just began to talk about this idea,
right.
And so we went to the VBA, and talked to the guys about it, and people got excited about the idea, and then we came to WCTV, and they were very open and wanting to do this program, so. It was.
It's been a good.
To be here.
It's been a good ride, and we've been at it now for 6 years or so.
Man, time flies.
Time just goes by.
Yes.
And I can just remember going back to even today that we started talking about what do we call this?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
We went through all of those little ups and downs of what we got to call this, and then finally, I think you come up with Proudly We Serve, which was probably the best title that we could have. So we like to thank everybody out there that watches our show and kind of helps us with what we do.
Yeah.
Along with that, before we get really started with what we want to talk about today, I'd like to show the veteran community this. We had our Memorial Day celebration with the UE coming to town. And this kind of got maybe passed over just a little bit, but I'd like all the veterans in Wayne County to take a look at this. It's the Richmond Heart of the City Award that was presented by Mayor Snow at our Memorial Day service.
Why don't you read it?
And he'll read what's going on with that, but the gist of that is that's given to an individual that's contributed a lot to community involvement and things like that.
Yeah.
It was given to the veteran community because of their relentless pursuit of this UE helicopter coming to town.
That was part of it, yeah.
That's part of it. But it's just the veteran community in general, I think.
Things that we do, veterans volunteer
for
various services and that, and when you look at what they are veterans of, service to the United States of America, protecting our country, I mean, what greater, service can you give? So this thing says Richmond Heart of the City Award, presented to Wayne County veterans in recognition of your ongoing commitment to selfless service of this community. May 2019, City of Richmond, Indiana, presented by Mayor Dave Snow. Great. This is, I mean,
it's really a great award, and to me, it speaks volumes of our community.
Yeah.
Ron and I were actually just talking before the program got started today about our community and how it's aging somewhat, and it's hard to get younger ones. The veteran community we're talking about, but what we're talking about is getting the younger ones involved. You have to kind of get involved and it's like a person said, I guess you don't know how deep the water is till you get in it. So that's kind of the way it is with the veteran community. I started out, it's been close to 10 years ago, and just recently I tried to surge and try to push the veteran community as much as I possibly can. We have some really good people out there that are really dedicated to what the veteran community does and how they help people, the things we do that behind the scenes, and I'll kind of get this out and then get on to something else. But the veteran community, actually, we visit the nursing homes once a month. We take them little items that they can use. Most people don't realize that, but it's a ministry, if you will, to the clubs. I think that's handed by Kathy and Jim Hankins handle most of that, and we go to the different nursing homes at least once a month. So that's kind of one of the things that veterans do. But all the time reaching out to somebody if somebody needs some help, trying to help somebody in some way. So.
You know, it's for me, it's been very enjoyable in terms of how this community receives veterans.
Certainly.
You know, when I arrived here in 1995, and of course nobody knew I was a veteran then, but I got associated with the VBA. I think that was in 01.
Oh wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I've been, and as you know, my participation with the organization, people came to know, you know, who I was and what I was. And, the recognition around this community, you know, it's just awesome how people appreciate, you know, the contribution that not just myself, but the veterans have made to the security of these United States. And it's surprising that people think about it that way. You know, a lot. You know what I mean? I just don't expect people in general to realize how important it is, the service that veterans provide for this country. You know, not just in engaging in wars and conflicts overseas, but just in general protection of this country.
Sure.
You know, the military installations we have throughout this country, and you'd be surprised at some of the activities that go on around this country, in the air and all that, around its borders, to continually protect this country. And it's the men and women who serve in these organizations, you know, that do that. So I don't think it's too much to honor them and give recognition to them.
Oh, not at all.
And I feel proud to be associated with that group. Yeah.
Well, I think our last Memorial Day service, and that'll stand out in a lot of people's minds for a long time.
Yeah, that was good.
It was probably the biggest crowd we've ever heard, or ever had. And Jim Brown, who is a friend of ours from Indianapolis, that actually spoke.
It was excellent.
He did really a good job, and he was really impressed with the veteran community and how people seem to really get involved with what they're doing in the veteran community. We have a couple of people in our community. I'm going to bring their names into focus here just a little bit. Is Joe Goebel. He's the guy that actually welded the UE to its platform in the park. That was a big deal for veterans. That was a huge turnout.
He was significant in getting the
just the whole town, Richmond Police Department, Wayne County, all of them. Just a huge deal.
The motorcycle clubs.
The motorcycle clubs that were here,
it's coordinated.
Unbelievable. Those guys that come in to escort that stuff. Joe Goebel, Gary Franklin, Ron Hill, Roger Stinson. For the mainstays, major guys, major players that really have dedicated their life to seeing that this UE thing. And I know talking to Gary Franklin about how the park started and how they had to continue on and keep pressing when Sally Hutton was the mayor. She kind of took the bull by the horns and decided, you know, we can do this. And from that, it was just raising money and doing what we do. And now we have probably one of the prettiest parks in the state of Indiana.
You know what? These guys, I mean, really were the impetus, the start of this whole park.
Exactly.
Itself. When it had its first memorial, and it was interesting to me that it was pointed out that the first object that was used as a memorial was a tree.
Yeah, exactly.
A tree.
I've been told that.
Okay, and from that it evolved into what we have right now. And I tell you, I know, and I've done some traveling and visited some of the veterans parks. We've got, to my knowledge, the best in this country.
Yeah, no doubt.
Most places, when you go and you see a memorial to veterans, it's a statue, with a little plaque on it, and maybe the image of a soldier with a weapon, something like that. But nothing like what we have here in Wayne County. So our veteran community really needs to be lauded and appreciated for the work they've put in, and the major crew, as you mentioned, pushing to get this park and
sure. Well, those guys have worked just a lot of long hours to get the park to where it's at, but it really takes a lot of dedication and a lot of focus to be able to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
They just, to me, I didn't get involved actively, like I said, about 10 years ago maybe. I spent all my time working. Just recently, I'd say within the last couple of years especially, I've felt the need to really push the veteran community, get us out there in front of the pack, if you will, and kind of push that as much as we can, because I really see a deterioration somewhat with the younger ones coming into the military.
I don't know if it's that. They just
it's just
need to
lack
be encouraged.
Well, there's nobody to do that though. We've lost that.
We're reaching out to them. We're trying to encourage them, not just in the veteran community, but in the community at large.
Sure.
To get involved with stuff. So that's something that we, the folk who are involved, need to continue to do, is to reach out to these young people and help them to understand how important it is for them to be involved with things in the community.
Well, we have a lot of force that we can, as a veteran community, there are a lot of things you can get involved in, that you can help in, either as an auxiliary person or a main person in the community. Just, there's so many things that we can do to help our community move forward, I think. And we're a force. I think the veteran community is a force.
Well, that's a lot of what we've tried to do with this program.
Sure.
Is to get information out there, to encourage people, to let people know what resources are available to the veteran community.
Correct.
To let the community know, what's going on in the veteran community, so that they would know. So I think we've gone a long way to made a lot of progress in terms of accomplishing our goal and objective for the program. I hear often, Al, guys and gals who are veterans who will say, "Hey, I saw you guys' program last week, and man, I really liked that. That was a good subject. And they like the banter and the conversation and all that.
Sure.
We're really laid back, kind of, like we are right now.
Yeah. Well, it's not, and that's what's I think helped the program a lot. Is if you remember when we originally started, we had a format, and because nobody really knew where this thing was going to go to, so I can remember sitting before some of these shows trying to outline a format that would be something that we could follow, and then Eric Marsh came to us, I think, and told us that we just need to be natural. We just need to just be natural, and just everything else will happen from there.
Well, that was dangerous, considering my primary avocation, just to let me go.
Well, listen, while I'm on that, and I wanted to bring this up earlier, that Whitewater Television has been a really good veteran supporter.
Awesome.
There's not enough good can be said with Eric, their director. He was out there Memorial Day filming, and
the whole crew, man. The whole crew has just
they just do it.
Marvelous, wonderful, in supporting this program.
Exactly.
And advancing this program, and some of the things that they've done is, to me, just awesome. How they present us. And some of the stuff that we've done, how they show it on TV and all that, So there's a lot of work that goes into this this production,
One of the best programs, looking back over the last couple of years, is when we were at the park.
Oh, yeah.
And we were doing the different monuments.
Yes.
Fred Adelsberger was alive at the time. And Fred was 94, I believe. And he just kept saying, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I said, Fred, just be natural. Just be Fred.
Yeah.
And at 94 years old, here we got a guy that's a little bit concerned about what it's going to be like to be under the camera. And I just, but it turned out he was a work of art with World War II.
Yeah.
That was his game. And he just, the more I look back at things like that and what this television station, Whitewater Valley, has done to make us look good in the front of all of that.
That's a job.
If I remember right, if I remember right, it was a real windy day, and it was just hard to get all of that out. I think we filmed 4 shows at once, if I remember right. But that was one of the best times I can remember.
Yeah, that was a good show.
The Purple Hearts, the guys from Wayne County that are Purple Heart recipients.
Oh yeah, we had them. Yeah,
we had Purple Heart guys on here. That's a really that was another really good program, I think.
For those that don't know, if you're a civilian, Purple Heart means it's the individual got wounded in combat and conflict, and they're presented that special award by.
And we have several of those in Wayne County.
We do have.
And hopefully that when it comes to Purple Heart Day, we'll have those gentlemen back on, at least a couple of them.
Yeah.
We just have to wait and see how all that shakes out.
Then we've had support from the state Veterans Administration. We've had some of those people on. The director.
Right.
We had on. So, hey, that's, that's pretty powerful there. We got the director of the Indiana Veterans Administration.
For people that don't know them, that's the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs. That's non-affiliation with the government. So everything that they do, and I've always said, if you want something done, or if you got some issue at the VA that you want taken care of, you can call them and somehow they can find those answers pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they do. They're in the process of helping veterans. Certainly that place over there has grown, and we hope to have the new director on possibly within the next month or so. Depends on their schedule. We're on a couple of them. We just have to wait and see how all that works out. So,
and then we've had reps from the Veterans Hospital in Dayton.
Certainly.
We've had them here, and the not the administrator, but the public awareness officer. We had him here. And then, of course, the people from the Richmond Community-Based Outreach Center, Veterans CBOC.
Sure.
We've had folks from there here talking about what they do and the service that they provide. We've had the folks from some of the other services, like the shelter that's in Winchester.
Certainly.
That
the Journey Home.
Yeah, they were here talking about their services. My goodness, I'm trying to think everybody that we've had.
They and all those organizations, it's amazing to me how those organizations have went on and grown. The Journey Home in Winchester, that the Veterans of Foreign War 1108 specifically supported that place when it first got opened up. Now they are part of a government funding, so they still need funds, but that's a good place for a guy to go if he's not really homeless, but if he's in need of something, I think he could go up there and talk to them. But we also have a service officer. And we can't forget to mention Pete.
We got Pete.
Pete McDaniel.
Pete McDaniel. He has been a major contributor.
And Pete has always been our go-to guy when we needed somebody. We could always call him, and if he could work it any way, he'd be here. So
and he's always full of information. All the new stuff that's happening, things that are on the table. The services that he provides there, the assistance that he's got Virgil Shaw with him. But what the services they provide, and that's important. That's important. If you're a veteran out there and you've got issues, you just need to go meet Pete. Even if you don't have an issue, just go meet him and Virgil and just let them know, hey, you're here. I know that you're here, and just shake hands and, that kind of thing. But they can provide you with a host of information. with regards to services that provided to veterans. If you're looking at trying to get your disability issues, worked on or whatever, they can help you do that. Connect you with just about anything that's available for veterans. So go and see Pete McDaniels and Virgil Shaw down at the Wayne County building in Richmond, and they'll hook you up.
They're some of the best. Pete's been at it now, 3 or 4 years, but he
at least that.
Yeah, he knows that.
He's been there.
Yeah, he really knows. I can't remember when he took over, but he knows that stuff about as good as anybody. So if you've got any kind of problems, like he said, with disability, any kind of veteran issue when it comes to your health or anything like that, they can help you out.
Education.
Right.
Before him was Jim Disney.
Jim Disney, correct.
Did a good job as well.
Right.
Yeah, Jim did a good. He had to retire but he did a good job as well.
And then I think Marshall Smith was an interim type
sure
person,
was.
and then that's when Pete took over.
Yes.
So they've done a good job of keeping the veteran community straight.
Right.
And I think that probably our health network, if you will, in Wayne County is pretty good. I mean, the outpatient clinic that we go to seems to be doing good. I mean, they seem to always take care of my problem if I got one. So.
Oh, Pete, he put me in my place on one program, if you remember, and I said, he said, I'm a Marine, and I said, well, I'm sorry. I said, the Army would have taken you. He said, no. He said, you know what Army means? I said, what does it mean, Pete? He says, ain't ready for Marines yet. I said, oh, man. He shut me up. I had to be quiet. Great guy, though, and great service. Gee whiz, man. We've had some people on this
down
show.
To Leland, I can remember.
I should have made a list prior to the program.
Yeah.
But man, the folks have been really, really good at supporting us.
Yeah.
Some of the folks, we've had guys from our Post 1108 and
certainly
777
right
on the program as well. And Harold Evans, who was a door gunner on Huey in Vietnam. Remember we had him on when we were talking about bringing the Huey here. He came on. He talked about how dependent we were on the Huey. I remember that, but he talked about his assigned duties as a gunner, and you could see the tension when he talked about it. And so I really appreciate him sharing that experience. So he was excited. In fact, at the installation of the Huey, he came to me. He said, "You know what we're missing?" I said, "What are we missing, Harold?" He said, "Spotlights." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "I'm going to make an effort to try to get funds so we can get spotlights to shine on that booger at nighttime." I said, "That'd be a great idea, man."
Well, it's a beautiful thing when you come down to the park when you come in off of West Main Street. There, it looks like it's coming in back.
Yeah, the way they got it.
The way it's slanted like that. And I don't know whether all that was planned or not, but it just, to me, it's amazing that a group of men, and mainly 3 or 4 guys really, that really put the effort in to getting that thing here, because it's been a while in getting here.
A couple of years.
Yeah, it didn't happen overnight. So, something else I want to bring up, because I feel like we need to do this, and we've just been kind of talking old times here of different things that we've been able to do on the program. But D-Day is coming June the 6th. And so I started reading a little bit about D-Day and what it stood for and what it meant and everything. And actually, the D don't mean anything at all, according to the article that I read. That was just put out there when we invaded Normandy. But the thrust behind it was all the Allied forces that had to be, if you will, in the same place at the same time to make that attack possible.
Okay.
They said that the timing of everything was so important. And that's why Normandy, when we took over that northern sector, I think it was in France or whatever it was.
D-Day, the D maybe it was Determination Day or something.
D doesn't actually stand for anything. It's just guys referred to it for some reason as D-Day.
Yeah.
And this article went on to talk about all the planning that went into planning a mission like that, that turned out to be one of the biggest missions probably in World War II.
Wow, yeah.
Or one of them. So I thought we ought to mention that June the 6th is D-Day. So,
you know if we got any activities planned here in the community?
I don't really know, other than the 4th of July is coming up.
Oh, yeah.
American Legion always puts on the fireworks.
Yeah,
Those are always enjoyed by everybody in Wayne County.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume they're going to be at the park, just like always. That's another person we had on before was Denise from the
park department,
that's another person that I feel like we need to just bring up with this supporting the veteran community. Denise and her crew did a great job of getting the mulch down at the park.
Okay.
Before the actual Memorial Day.
Yeah.
So that kind of really made the park, as there's nothing like that fresh mulch out there to make it all look good.
Well, you know, Al, I think we could probably go on for days, or not days, but a considerable amount of time talking about, this program and the things that we've been able to accomplish, But, it's about time for us to close out, and I certainly want to make sure that the people who have participated on this program understand that we really appreciate you. And we thank you for making this program the success that it is and has been. Got to mention, we received, after our first year, Producers of the Year award. Now, I meant to bring that award, and I didn't bring it. But Ron and Al and Ron, we received Producers of the Year. We got on this program, we didn't have a clue what we was going to be doing. Okay?
True. But it's been
it's been great.
It's really been a good ride.
It's been good,
like Ron said, we want to thank everyone that's been on this program, and it's just really been. It's been knowledgeable. It's been at times when you really feel like that you're just not getting anything done. Somebody says, "Hey, I saw your show and liked it."
Okay.
So, and that's kind of what makes us keep going.
Yeah.
So, with that, we'll get ready and sign off.
We got to go. We got to get out of here, folks. But listen, keep watching the program. We plan on being here for a little bit more time. Right?
A little more time.
A little more time.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching Proudly We Serve.
Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan are honored to partner with Proudly We Served, as well as the continued support of our local active and retired military veterans across eastern Indiana.